Working closely on a joint venture partnership arrangement. So we're running a competitive process, and the idea is that we're looking to sell down up to 50% of the project. And the idea is we'll bring downstream players into our business, and we're looking at cathode, battery and car manufacturers becoming partners in the asset. So we're willing to sell down up to 50%. And the idea is that they'll bring a significant amount of capital, but also some of the technology required to produce these chemical products.
Hello to those tuning into the Assay TV, where we're on day 2 of our London mining investment event. I'm delighted to be joined by Scott Williamson, the Managing Director of Blackstone Minerals. Welcome, Scott.
Thanks for having me.
So just for a little recap, can you tell us a bit about Blackstone, a bit of an overview for our viewers that aren't so familiar?
No worries, yeah. So we're looking at restarting the previously operating Ban Phuc nickel mine in northern Vietnam. And we're looking at also producing a downstream product. So it's a mining and refining strategy. So we're looking at restarting the mine, but also building a downstream refinery, which will produce the chemical products for lithium-ion batteries. So we'll actually convert nickel concentrate from the mine and also imported feedstocks into what they call a precursor cathode active material, which has nickel, cobalt and manganese in a ratio of 8:1:1. So that's a battery grade chemical product that trades at a premium to the underlying metal prices.
Excellent. So let's look at some of the company's recent news flow. You've signed 2 MOUs with Cavico Laos Mining and Limes Renewables. Can you go into a little bit of detail regarding that? Yeah,
so Cavico Laos Mining are a Vietnamese group, and they've been operating in Laos for over 10 years now, and they have just commissioned a downstream hydromet plant which is producing MHP. MHP is a mixed hydroxide precipitate which can be a feedstock into our refinery. So the idea is that they could be a potential feedstock partner into the refinery, and we're looking at opportunities to work together with their Laos mine. And so they're actually mining and refining nickel in Laos, and the idea is that they will be a potential partner into our refinery. So really excited to work closely with them. They're really keen to work with our geologists, our mining engineers and metallurgists, and really work closely with them to a potential feedstock into our refinery. Limes is another one that we've recently announced. The MOU with Limes is really about working with Limes. They're a wind farm developer, and they're looking at producing a 200 megawatt wind farm in the Son La region where we're operating. And the idea is that we would work together to potentially look at a direct power purchase agreement, and that will allow us to reduce our CO2 footprint and our life cycle analysis. So we've done some life cycle analysis work with Minviro. We already have one of the lowest CO2 footprints in the industry, but this MOU with Limes allows us to reduce our CO2 footprint even lower if we can move towards a direct power purchase agreement.
Excellent. And let's look at your Ta Khoa nickel project a little bit more in depth. What are the latest updates there?
Yeah, so we're at the final stages of our definitive feasibility study. We're working closely on a joint venture partnership arrangement. So we're running a competitive process. And the idea is that we're looking to sell down up to 50% of the project. And the idea is we'll bring downstream players into our business, and we're looking at cathode, battery and car manufacturers becoming partners in the asset. So we're willing to sell down up to 50%. And the idea is that they'll bring a significant amount of capital, but also some of the technology required to produce these chemical products, and the offtake obviously as well. So they'll be our offtake partners, but also our joint venture partners.
Excellent. How do you find the Vietnamese government? Do you find they're very supportive of your activity there, and is it easy to operate in Vietnam?
Yeah, so we've been lucky that the previous subsidiary company that we purchased has operated successfully in the Son La region. So the subsidiary we purchased has been operating for over 20 years. The good thing is that the previous owners have left a really strong legacy. So they looked after the community, the local people, they looked after the environment. So we've come in there and we've sort of built on that legacy, and so we're very lucky that the Son La people have really embraced nickel mining, and they understand that previously it was a a real addition to the economic situation in Sonna, and so they're really keen to bring the mine back into production. So yeah, it's been quite refreshing actually, the government support we've had.
And let's move over to Canada. You also have your Goldbridge project. Is there any update there?
Goldbridge, we've done a little bit of work on Goldbridge, but it's sort of on the back burner at the moment. We've got some strategic interests in Manitoba, so we have interest in Corazon in Manitoba and also Flying Nickel. Corazon is on the ASX, Flying Nickel on the TSX. So we watch very closely because they are potential feedstock partners into our refinery as well. So we particularly like Manitoba because it also has abundant hydropower. So it's all about a low CO2 green nickel product, and that's why we like the Manitoba, and that's why we've invested in that region.
You're very big on ESG at Blackstone, it sounds.
That's right.
Moving on to financing. So you obviously received 3.8 million Aussie dollars from the Australian Tax Office. Why do you think you received that award? Yeah,
so that's an R&D rebate. So some good rebates in Australia for the amount of research and development we've done. And it's particularly driven by the technology that we're using in our downstream processing. So yeah, the government's been very supportive in that rebate, and so yeah, we're well funded for the next phase of studies, but yeah, also looking to the joint venture partnership for that next large capital injection.
So just to summarise for our investors, can you highlight some key moments for them to watch out for in the coming months? Yeah,
so I think the key re-rate is obviously if we can bring in a joint venture partner, looking to do that as quickly as possible. At the moment, the market's assuming that we won't be able to build this refinery. If we can show a path to production through a funding arrangement with a partner, that's going to be the re-rate. So yeah, and we're looking to do that at a similar time to we're looking to bring out the definitive feasibility study. So they're two big milestones to come over the coming months.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing your company with us, and we can't wait to hear more. Enjoy the rest of the event.
Thank you much.